All right, we'll be playing against Levia today, or Levia, as people like to say. We'll probably be running the loop plan because it is unlikely that we will get a chance to play in for value off of our heralds into this matchup. So we're gonna try this, and hopefully we'll just live. Herald of Triumph is gonna be worth a lot for us here. We're going to take the red heralds out that we can't really reliably resolve, as well as the prismatic ley lines and the pierce realities. We'll probably put in our command and conquers instead and say go. Definitely a very hard matchup. I don't really think we're supposed to ever win this if the Levia knows what she's doing. She just has a lot of obviously very big cards that pop our phantasms. She's got a lot of damage, which we can't really slow down. She's got armor. She's got everything that she could ever want to beat us. So hopefully we have a prayer here. We do have a decent amount of cards that work into her, however. We have our Halo of, or Figment of Triumph. We have Herald of Triumph. We have a plan, but the fact that Levia also gets to run Scabskin Leathers, which completely invalidates our Spectra plan, makes things really difficult. So into Levia here, I'm really tempted to just play out the Genesis here and just pass. So that's what we're going to do. We can get rid of our 2 yellow cards here, and then Arsenal, a Herald of Triumph. Our opponent's really going to want to focus on Genesis here, which is fine with us, especially if they take a turn off to kill it. We didn't fill their graveyard at all, so that's actually so super fine for us. Okay, Who's of the Shadow Beast is also good for us, which means the Levia does not actually have a reliable out to our loop plan, especially if they use the Who's of Shadow Beast early on in the game. If they save it, they do have a way out of the loop, but let's just hope that they don't. So that's another thing you have to know about Prism. There's a lot of opportunities to make your opponent mess up, but there's also, wow, what a hand. But there's also, if your opponent knows what they're doing, there's not a lot of opportunities for you to outplay them because your hands are kind of dictated by what they want. So here, I really like the idea of leading with the Herald of Triumph and Arsenal. It's got 5 power. Our opponent can go to pop it here. We can never reduce that enough. It's got 13 power, but we're totally happy with that. We're going to pay our resource here. And so they don't have a Arsenal, so we're going to send a Herald of Triumph here. So we want to save the Command and Conquer for a turn in this situation where we can actually threaten an Arsenal or something, especially not have to worry about Phantasm. So we'll hope to start stripping some of their armor as well. This is really great for us if we get to hit this. Okay, no, sweet. Great, so we're getting some armor, we're getting some cards out of them. Love that. So we've already used 2 of our 9 Heralds of Triumph, so we have to be very careful here. All right, let's see what we got here. What's our opponent going to do? Mark of the Beast. They don't have resources for that. So it looks like they're just going to Arsenal pass. That's fine. So we could go for the Command and Conquer here, but they literally have Carrion Husk. So we could try to Arclight Sentinel here and just kind of blank their turn and try and draw better cards. But that's not extremely reassuring. I think I would rather send our Herald of Judgment or Ravages, try to make them pop us and spend more cards, especially with our Figment of Triumph here. Mark of the Beast is also not extremely threatening, and while we shouldn't know what that card is, we do. I think I would rather play the Herald of Judgment here, and I would lead with the Herald of Ravages. We don't want them to know that Figment of Ravages is in our hand. We want them to think that we could use it. So here, that's fine. We'll let them pop that. We'll pay for our Figment of Triumph, and then we will just send the Command and Conquer. Not a great turn, right? We had a 5-card 9, effectively. That's not very good, but again, our upside is very high. And if we had drawn a blue, we'd be totally fine here because we just needed that one extra resource. Getting the Carrion Husk early is great. We're happy with that. And we'll move on. So now we have our Figment of Triumph back in our deck. We can actually use it for value there. We have Shadow Realm Horror, which is going to hit all 3 modes, I believe. And we have in our hand Herald of Triumph and Protection. So I do think that we need to not block here. If we block here, we're going to not have a turn really to fight back with. So I do think we have to do this way. Our opponent can play a card out of their Banished Zone this turn. They don't have a ton of resources. They do have Reckless Swing, so we have to watch out for that to potentially not ruin us if we have an Angel in play. If we attack with the Angel first, they cannot trigger the Reckless Swing on us. But, okay, so 6 damage. That's not great for us, but we have to take it here. There's really no choice. So this is an awkward situation because we're already at half of our life because we start so low on life. We do have to throw the Triumph here and effectively hope that our opponent blunders. If they give us the Scowling Flesh Bag, I mean, that's fine because they're probably going to give us other cards with it. But again, this is a hard matchup. They have a lot of armor. They have a lot of disruption into us. And we could try to do something with our Halo here potentially. But most likely, okay, so he's not going to block. Love that. That's huge for us. That's absolutely okay. Never mind. Spoke too soon. Opponent is probably going to give us the Scowling Flesh Bag here and prevent us from using the rest of our hand, which they should do here 100% of the time. When we only have 2 cards in hand, it's very obvious what we're trying to do. So Scowling Flesh Bag is the correct block here. Potentially with their Apex Bone Breaker and a card. They have 6 cards in their Blood Debt, so if we can try to survive and let them flip into Plasmafet, that'd be great. But they're probably not going to. They're going to say no blocks. We can go in here, and I think we need to go for the Gusto here. So I'm going to go for the Figment of Erudition into play, and we are going to use our Halo here to pitch our Arclight Sentinel to put our protection into our soul. We'll draw. Oh, what the? Hello? What is going on here? That was weird. Don't really know what was happening there. Okay, yeah, we're going to get our Figment into play here. We will close the chain. We will activate our Halo of Illumination. We will pitch our Arclight Sentinel, let the Halo resolve. Great, we've drawn a card. Prism activates again. Here we're going to want to get our probably Figment of Triumph, just in case here. We can use Prism with our floating resources to flip over our Soraya, which we can attack with, pitching with our Genesis. Yes, we want to draw 2 cards. So this is perfect for us. We are getting as big of a turn as we possibly can here. We've got some ward insulating us from our opponent's damage, and we've actually drawn the perfect hand of War Tune Herald plus Angelic Wrath. Here, I do think that it would be correct to break our Dreamweavers to guarantee that this goes through. So we will be doing that. We will play our War Tune Herald. Our opponent tries to block it. We can instant speed Angelic Wrath, which is fantastic. We just could not afford to have our War Tune Herald pop this turn. We're already so behind on life. Especially with the Angelic Wrath, we really don't want to waste this opportunity to push through more Figments and more Soul. So that's what we're doing here. Okay, so they're not going to block us. We will Angelic Wrath, pump it up to 8 power. So we're still behind, but not behind terribly much compared to our opponent, which is fantastic. We've used a lot of our resources this turn, which is relevant, but we are getting to do quite a bit here. I think we'll go for the Figment of Protection so we can have a bit more insulation and make that health disparity a bit better for us. We've got a red War Tune in our arsenal, so we have a way to kind of push through some value into our opponent. Looks like my opponent is trying to go for a Hooves play here, attacking with a 6 power. We do have our Soraya here, and he's not choosing to target it. We don't have a great way to handle what our opponent's doing here, especially drawing Figments. We never want to do that. But I do think that we kind of need all of our cards and to just trade value here. So we're just going to say, yep, that's fine. We'll just lose our permanents. Take 1 damage. Our opponent can trigger Hooves. So notably, if we were able to set up our loop play here, we would be in a pretty good spot. But this isn't great, although I do like the idea of just taking the damage here. We have nothing really to protect here, so there's no on-hit effects to worry about, so we're just going to let that through. We need to slow our opponent down with their value more than having our own value be higher. We're not going to go for a Soul Food here. We need to, against Levia, at least keep her off of bigger card hands. So I think what we will do here is lead with our Herald of Triumph, pitching our Figment. Worst case scenario here, we can pitch our Soul Food to swing a War Tune Herald to get things out of our opponent from Arsenal. We could also potentially, if we hit here, have our Vestige enabled and have enough resources to flip an Angel. This is fine if he's going to let the rest of this hit. Okay, we lose the blue card. That's suboptimal, but it is what it is. We're going to hit, get a card here. I think we're going to choose the... there's nothing in our opponent's Banished Zone that they can play from Banished. So I think we're going to go for the arcane damage off of the Ravages to ping our opponent. And we now have our... We don't have enough resources to flip and swing our Angel here, but because we got the wrong card banished. But what we can do is we can attack with our War Tune Herald and flip a Figment. So I think that's what we're going to do. Our opponent likely doesn't want to block what we're doing here. And so we're going to at least effectively heal 4 this turn and rip another card out of their hand. So worst case scenario, this is a 7 value play off of 2 cards at the end here. So not bad. Again, our opponent with the Flesh Bag could have been a bit better, I think. But it's not the end of the world for them. They are going to go for the pop here, potentially. Definitely some interesting blocking decisions from our opponent. We are going to choose to say that's fine. We will choose to not pay for the Footsteps. And I think, because we need to stay alive, we need to activate one of our Figments. I think we will activate the Protection Figment. And we will arsenal our card and go on to our next turn. Shadow Realm Horror. We have a very poor blocking hand, which is why we really need to flip our Figments for value here. Our opponent is only coming in for, I believe, 8 power without Go Again, which is great for us. We really don't want to... Well, we can't really block here, so we just need to say we're going to take it. And we don't want to flip an Angel here on their turn, so we're going to go to our turn. We can definitely lead with the War Tune Herald. Since our opponent doesn't have a... Well, our opponent's cards banish as cost, so we can't really prevent them from doing that. But we do want to threaten them. So we're going to attack with Herald of Triumph here. We are going to pitch the Genesis for that. And if our opponent pops us, that's okay. We've got 4 resources, which is enough to flip an Angel and swing it. As well as if they don't pop us, then we have a pretty decent turn here because we have a lot of resources. So great, we're going to hit with our Herald of Triumph. We're going to get some extra good stuff here. I like the idea of getting the Figment of War for some extra attack power. We can use our Awakener of Soul to flip over our Triumph here by pitching our Arclight Sentinel, I think. We can attack with Victoria, pitching our blue card. And yes, we want to banish from Soul here because it's going to reduce the attack power of all of our opponent's cards. So not only when they're attacking us, but while they're blocking. So it's going to help force through this War-Tune Herald. Our opponent is definitely getting to the point where they are going to have to start blocking to protect themselves from our damage. And so we're going to send that War-Tune Herald for 6 power. If they try to pop us, they will struggle to unless they give up a really big attack power card. That's not good enough. I hope they know that is the case. We will hit, get our Figment, and I think we'll get the Herald of Judgment back just to put more cards in our deck. And we will pass on that. Do this. Okay, great. We've got a decent turn next turn. They're attacking our face. They turned off their Blood Dat. They're coming in for 8 power. We could block with a bunch of cards in our hand, but that is incorrect here. We want to threaten the Herald of Triumph here without their armor, especially since we have the blue card. So we're going to use this turn to eat this damage and live at 4 life so that we can send back our Herald of Triumph. Our opponent has missed the opportunity to flip into Plasma Effect Consumed, which is very important for us. It'll be very hard for our opponent to pop this card, and block it out. So we can potentially flip an Angel here off the blue card and attack with Ravages and Arsenal, the Herald of Judgment, which would be fantastic. They're choosing not to block. They have a Reckless Swing. That's fine for us. We really don't care. Unless they have a second one. But even if they did, we have a way around that. So we're going to just flip over something. You have to choose something, so it's worth doing that. So here we can flip the Herald of Ravages here, or the Angel Ravages. This is really good for us because when we attack with it, we can pay that extra soul for some arcane. So our opponent has to give us another card. So if they Reckless us here, it won't actually work because this is not a attacking hero, it's an Angel ally. So our opponent has to give us more cards or they die here. And there you go. That card doesn't block, and neither does that one. All right, well, we love that in the world of Prism. Notably, our opponent had opportunities to play around us a bit better, but they don't necessarily know what we see. So thanks for watching the gameplay. I hope you got something out of it. And if you want to talk more about it, let me know in the comments certain lines or certain moments in the video, especially with timestamps, and we can talk about it. So hope you enjoyed. I hope you have a good day, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.